safety. Okay, so to be safe, prevent muscle injury, prevent snapping things, the technique is there. The second one is it's easier. If you noticed when I was doing the spins, I launched. Quite often when you're doing a spin, you step with one leg and you bring the other around and up. And what it does is it launches you. Now I'm 64 kilos, so I need a little bit of air to launch me round. And that's part of the technique that we train our ladies in, to help them spin. Otherwise, you do come down the pole like a sack of spuds, and that's not what you want to really look like when you're dancing. So you have to consider absolutely everything: where you stand, how you stand, hands. We have different grips. This is called a baseball grip. Yeah. And this one here's a shoulder mount grip. This is a bracket grip. The bracket grip we do spins with. It serves to keep your body away from the pole, so you're not getting in close. So it's all about shapes, and the shapes are very, very different. And that's what we're going to make now. Sam's going to make some really good shapes. Don't try this at home. If you want to try it, come and train with us. It takes an awful lot of muscle and a good dose of courage. Sam's wearing gloves as well, which you can do if, like Sam, you get nervous, you get sweaty hands. She's currently climbing the pole. This move here is using grip on the foot, and on the inside of the knee, and on the thighs. Her legs are actually scissored together. It's an optical illusion. People think the legs are like this, but they're pushed together, so she's using the inner thigh. It's just a climb with a kind of crucifix. This is a seat position. Again, she's using the inner thigh to hold on, and she's also engaging her abs so that she's controlling where her upper body goes. It's very, very painful when you first learn this, but you do get used to it. It takes about 3-4 weeks of continuous practice, but once you stop doing it, you have to start all over again. Okay, we call it conditioning the thighs. This is a beautiful Gemini variation. Lovely, look at that. Again, you can see her contact points are holding her onto the pole. She's also using her side here, which is why we do tend to wear little kind of either bikini or sports bra tops. The more advanced you get, the more you need the skin on this part of the body. You need the skin on the legs. If it's material touching the pole, you will come down very fast. And she's climbing. And that's a climb to invert. And this is a mantis variation, holding on with the back of the knee. Again, using her core strength. And she's going into a caterpillar variation. So the pole's a bit slippery. You can see she's sliding down slightly. This is the bane of pole dancers. It's either too sticky or too slippery. We have to learn to work with it. If it's a bit too slippery, it means you can't hold the moves for very long. Alright, this is one of my favourite moves. I love doing this. This is a shoulder mount. This is incredibly difficult. It takes an awful lot of strength. She's doing a variation with her legs. So the basic move is a shoulder mount. You're going up using basically only the shoulder.
It's very slippery. It's also very warm in here, which is the worst thing, because you start to sweat. And as soon as you start to sweat, there's no grip on the pole whatsoever. But I shall persevere.
Okay. Now here she's going into a cradle. It's a different way of going upside down, and this move is called the knot. Sam actually invented this move, which we're really proud of, so she got to name it. Pole dancing is still a sport in its infancy, and a lot of people, as it progresses, are creating new moves, and so we're finding new names. What we're trying, or most of us in the community are trying to do, is move away from any name that's derogatory for women and making them more sports-based. So the knot is absolutely fine, it's very neutral. This is called the knee conditioning, or the knees, some dancers call it. I don't do this because it's absolutely exhausting on the knees. I can't begin to tell you how difficult that move is. It's incredibly difficult. Ow. It's very, very, very painful. It's very painful. And she's going into
the intensity now.
Yeah. This is from Chinese pole. A lot of guys do this. It's called the flag. You have to have a very strong back to do that. Very strong back. Put all of your weight into the back muscles. Okay. This is a normal invert. It's just a classic invert, going upside down. It's what all our ladies want to achieve at some point. And she's coming down into a power down move. This is a reverse shoulder mount. So you remember the shoulder mount where she went up? This is the reverse one coming down. This is fabulous if you want a six-pack. Really, really good. Very good for the washboard
have
abs.
one at the moment.
We did have nice something to eat earlier, so a bit of bloating.
So the fish soup in Fowey is fantastic. And the prawns.
Yeah. This is called the bat, for obvious reasons. The idea is that you hang suspended. Again, she's gripping with the thighs. She's moving into Pantera's bow and arrow. And that's called the jester. Very difficult. The ones where you're upside down and you're just hanging on with the hands are very difficult, because if the pole's slippery like tonight, you've got very, very limited control on how and when you come down. So you've got to kind of trust yourself. It takes quite a lot of experience as a dancer to be able to trust yourself in those kinds of positions. Back in the school, we put mats down for the girls and also for the instructors when we train. She's doing a split heel pose. This comes from Chinese pole. And around she goes. It's great fun once you're up there, but it's scary getting into it because the feet slip on the pole.
Speak for yourself, it's not great fun.
I like it. I can't do it at the moment.
No, they're not too bad.
And this is called the angel. You have to be flexible to do this. Not everyone can do it. Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. Again, in the school, we teach you flexibility. We will teach you how to do the splits. We'll teach you how to do it safely. We also teach you about how to exercise safely, how to warm up and cool down, how to take care of yourself and your muscles. And we do offer some nutrition advice occasionally if the ladies ask, although none of us are qualified nutritionists, but we're all qualified fitness professionals. This is called the hands-free chopper. Sam's just hanging on with her thigh and a little bit down her side or her armpit, and into a mantis variation. And this is the Superman. But obviously, traditionally done right at the top of the pole, but on a wobbly pole like this can be a little bit dodgy. So at the bottom is good.
Anything, trust me, on this. It only moves a little bit, but when you're up here, it feels like you're moving on a boat. It's really horrible. The other thing that I have to consider is the limited landing space. There are some moves that I will not do on this pole because I'm like to end up on the floor. So, saving some of my best moves for another day, unfortunately.
Pole dancing is an anaerobic and aerobic sport, which means it works both the muscle system and your cardiovascular system. You might think that Sam's just working her muscle system here, but in fact she's working her heart and lungs as well. And actually when we dance, which we often do to pieces of music, if you're doing 5 or 6 minutes of continuous high-level stuff like this, very acrobatic, which is hard on the muscles, but you're also moving around a lot, it's extremely good for you, for you. And we're all very fit. So most of our ladies come to us seeking fitness and a bit of fun. They're sick of the gym, they're sick of the classes, they're sick of being bored at the gym. And a lot of them secretly have always wanted to learn to pole dance. So it's a legitimate way of learning to pole dance without the sleaze, without the pressure of having to perform in a club. We all perform. None of us perform in strip clubs. We've got our next performance on the 7th of June at a black tie ball event where all of the instructors and a lot of our students will be performing. So it gives everyone the opportunity to perform on stage without having to strip and in a safe environment. Consequently, a lot of women find pole dancing very empowering, quite the opposite to the idea that people have, that it disempowers women. Very much the opposite. And a bit like the WI, we're a nice little club. The school is extremely friendly. We organise social activities and we help women build their confidence, especially if women have come to us with backgrounds where they're lacking in confidence. For example, if they have abusive partners, or if they're carrying a little bit too much weight, or if they've had children and they're not been out the house for a while. We get some ladies who come in who've got very young babies, you know, who want to come out and feel womanly again. And I think it's very, very lovely in that respect. You know, it's a whole little community. And it provides a great deal of entertainment for the girls. Plus you get fit. Personally, I've lost 2 stone doing this. I never put it back on. My wedding dress is 2 sizes too big for me. This is a Gemini, isn't it beautiful? Sam's mum's favourite moon.